pray my love don't lie to me. Swing the iron like stamps and I can't let no holder lie to me. I don't feel these rappers, all they lies is hypocrisy. Ain't no competition, ain't no rivalry. Niggas think I'm playing, I don't hear one word they saying. This shit light work. Think Muhammad one of us, he might lose his life first. Circle up and stay alert. Another cop just stretch the nigga. He a demon, this that exorcism. Watch I bless the nigga. You took that open blood, then you know I'm gon' get active with you. Fuck the opposition, I see vision. Let me paint the picture. Rappers claim they spit, I ain't listening. Is it factive? If revenge was a woman, now I stroke that bitch like Jackie. So time war, we gon' run the summer. It's gon' be historical. Thought they making plays, made them niggas call the audible. Ask who run this shit, but that question is rhetorical. Bitch, I'm the one, me cookies with the oil. I'ma get them crackers, hell, should've never kidnapped my family. I can't do that, bet I be the last nigga standing. Do a life sentence for my niggas, pray you understand me. I might put a switch on this Glock and call it young baby. How you real trigger know them dots? You a bird feeder, claiming he a demon. What's a demon to a cold leader? When he saying something, I ain't hear him. This shit light. It ain't about who got the gun, it's about who gon' up that pipe first. I turn a bad situation to a game changer. Bring soldiers from the dead, just raised up the chain. Free shots, I'ma look like Aaron Jones when I run it. Never bite the hand that feeds you, you will never get that hand back. He bitchin' about 10%, I don't wanna hear none of that. He dropping sword, fuck him, just make sure you get that cover back. Look around, he ain't with us, probably cause he never was. Now my chin like you with the angels for your brothers. Everybody wanna be Richard Porter, God kill him like Alpo. Play if he want, it's laying in the trunk like Lee Malvo. I'm a certified woman's ass nigga, I am not a toy. Hey, I with that hollow side, yeah, this the real McCoy. Feel like Gullah Jack when I'm in Fayetteville, you feel your boy. Still up on my brain, still I think that's all that I enjoy. The way I get that boy lost, they gon' start to call him Elroy. Fuck his game, pop out on them demons like I'm Hellboy.
Serious, and you're looking for a Christ man, the one who's anointed with the Lord, with the Spirit of the Lord, to do His will. I'm that nigga.
One West, 125th Street. Look, y'all put your faith in presidents like they gon' change this country. Run the league and let y'all play cause y'all gon' make 'em money. Fuck Obama, he ain't come here on cargo.
Imagine Honor don't like no soldiers. For the spirit of the Lord, we don't like no soldiers. You understand me?
Saint, black, Hispanic, native, they hate y'all as the same. Hate Christ and they image, paint you as a slave. God ain't all love, scriptures say you hate African soft niggas, they know we not the same. School to prison pipeline to get you off the streets. Put you in the cell toilet connected to the saint. Molested as a kid, she prostituted as a teen. The byproduct of Martin Luther King dream. They just took the yoke off, my nigga, we ain't free. We living bleak in these wastelands of poverty. If you don't know the truth, then the lies sound promising. Prophecy, gift and the curse. Dylan started killing, they was sitting in church. Black folk forgave him, man, this shit is absurd. You should never love your enemy, that shit ain't gon' work. Yeah, fuck dying on your knees, you better die in glory. Man, I joined the UPK, taught me the art of warring. I took a nigga life like mine to be recognized. I feel that pain every day, it can't be reconciled. Pops banging, my sister a prostitute. My brother got life, and somehow I still found the truth. War ready, no cowards, no excuse. Fuck reparations, you can't bandage no open wounds. Blood on the leaves, body swing hung from a noose. I was on a run in Nashville and I found the truth. I called the school, classes being held by the shock on my life. I want to be a gangster like a cop. Do this for my brothers, real brotherhood. Everything we do, we got it out this book. My nigga, I can never be no African. UPK the only authorized acronym. I'm passionate about my brothers and sisters. We in hell, I ain't got nothing against them. That's another religion. If it ain't under YAHANNA, ain't he murdered by them and got a hug from YAHANNA. That's the way y'all for a coward in my observation. They don't fear the Lord, they indoctrinated. Wolves in sheep clothing, Joe Osteen. Real priest bringing back black royalty. One West on my headpiece, ranking order. Can't let them trick me off the streets, I gotta raise my daughter. I got brothers at the border ducking ICE agents. I got the name change, it was life changing. My family thought it was a game, put on all black, they said I was going through a phase. It's more of us in jail than it was slaves.
Aquí somos la Escuela Israelita del Conocimiento Práctico Universal. Hoy estamos aquí. Saludos forma del General YAHANNA I.S.U.P.K.
This is what Commander General YAHANNA did. This is what he did. Look at all these brothers.
First camp, I cut off all my dreads. I took an oath when that oil hit my head. Niggas capping like they lids. I'm a priest, I never stick no fork in no pig. I was dead till I found out how to live. This brotherhood taught me how to be a man. I came back to my roots, I had to dig. A couple gaps I had to bridge. I got a rib, I'm married to this work. You wanna serve the Lord, he ain't in the Christian church. I had to dig.
That's right.
You wanna serve the Lord, he ain't in the Christian church.
Hey, what's going on, Canada? What's going on, brothers? Y'all Shemi Shabbat Thumb, all the sisters. Y'all Shemal Thumb, Shemi Shai. All right, let me do a quick, bear with me, just doing a quick sound check. Making sure the sound is good. All right, 1 second. Okay, testing. Okay, sounds good. All right, sounds good. Again, shalom to the brothers. Yahweh Shem Shabbat to all the brothers. Yahweh Shamar Lathab Hashem Yashad, all the sisters. I'm Priest and Officer Shar Yuan under Commanding General YAHANNA. And we are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. All right, today is Monday night history class. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Gotcha. Monday night history class. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, sorry again. So tonight is Monday night history class. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to our channel. All right, if you're a brother or sister who wants to be a part of the school, make sure you hit those sign-in links. And make sure you hit those sign-out links at the end of the class. Okay, if you're a brother or sister who wants to join the school, the links are in the chat. Again, if you're tuning in, make sure you like, share, subscribe to our page, all right, our YouTube page. We're all over social media on every major platform. Okay, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the major platforms, we're on there. So make sure you like, share, subscribe to our channel, all right, so that you can keep updated with all the information that we are bringing out, okay? Again, we are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, and this school is for Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous brothers and sisters, okay? These classes are not for all people. The school is not for everybody. We are mainly here to help and raise up our community, our brothers and sisters who are the children of God, who are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. Okay? And it's about time that there's a place that loves on Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous people. And it's been far too long and needed for so long for people who have gone through so much horrific trauma, so much different horrific acts of violence and genocide, mass genocide being done to our people, damn near wiping us out via the transatlantic slave trade and the hundreds of years of slavery that we've served here in North and South Central America. We've gone through so many different phases of living over here in North and South Central America, whether it be slavery, whether it be segregation, desegregation, integration, being in the ghettos, barrios, and reservations, basically being on the bottom of a society. We've gone through hell here in this place. And this school is a place specifically for our people. Since 1969, I.S.U.P.K has been teaching the truth of the Bible. It is the only place on earth that has a truth of the Bible. If you don't believe me, I dare you to challenge me. Challenge us. Challenge the I.S.U.P.K. Okay? We're always open for debates. We're always open to battle. We're open to go over any and all scriptures. Like the Bible says, prove all things. Hold fast to that which is true. The I.S.U.P.K, we prove all things. All right, we are the priests of the Lord. We are the angels, the messengers of the Most High. And we're here to give our people the knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding of the Bible. That's what we do. And if you don't believe something we're saying, just challenge us. Just prove it. Prove it like the Bible says. Prove all things. Right? Bring forth your strong reasons. Bring your information. And we'll see where it takes you. Right? Christ said that ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And learning the truth, learning that being Black, Hispanic, and Indigenous, learning that that is not your true identity, learning that you actually have an identity and a history and a culture is a beautiful truth. It's a beautiful thing. Scientists will tell you the challenges that a people face from going through colonization, from not having an identity, from not having a language, from not having a God or a culture. Scientists and behavioral clinical psychologists and things like that, they'll tell you the side effects of not having an identity. You understand? So when Christ said, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free, there's a lot of freedom that comes from learning who you are. There's a lot of freedom that comes from learning that the greatest man to ever walk this earth, who the entire world loves to claim that they love and worship, a man named Jesus Christ. It is a great truth to learn that he is not a white boy. It is a great truth to learn that he is a Black man. He is a brother from the tribe of Judah. And to know that we as a people have a connection to that identity and that culture is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful truth. Imagine growing up and all you've ever seen is Puff Daddy on the screen or Jay-Z on the screen just rapping about nonsense and garbage. And you growing up here in this society, you don't have anybody to look up to. You don't have anybody that's a good role model. P. Diddy's going through all his 101 charges right now. And the whole world, when I say world, I'm speaking about the world of Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous people, is all up in arms because of what Puff Daddy did to Cassie, or Cassidy, which or whatever that sister's name is. And people are up in arms because we as a people idolize famous people. We as a people idolize rappers and all these different famous people. Meanwhile, they are not people to be idolized or worshipped. They are not people who have anything important to say. They make music, they have money, but they're not people of integrity. They're not good role models for our society. The young man growing up, you look up to people like this, and it leads to your demise. It helps you make bad decisions, poor decisions. It doesn't teach you what kind of company you should keep. But we idolize these people. And when we've come to find out things like R. Kelly doing whatever nonsense to women and Puff Daddy doing this and Michael Jackson doing that, we as a people feel so defeated. Really what we lack is just good leadership. We lack good role models. We lack people to look up to. A lot of us grew up inside the Christian church, grew up inside of Islam, or the Nation of Islam. And we look to our pastors and different men inside of those congregations to be role models to us. And how many times did those people inside those churches let us down? How many times did they preach and tell us to do things or tell us not to do certain things that they themselves were doing? They want to teach you how to have a good marriage when they've been divorced 4 or 5 times. They want to teach you how to treat your woman when they're at home abusing and putting their hands on a sister. We lack a people, we lack a good role model in our community. And that's what we've gained in the I.S.U.P.K under Christ. That's a truth that we've gained and helped us to gain freedom, learning that Christ is a black man from the tribe of Judah. He is a brother who is just like us, and we can look up to this brother. We can see ourselves when we look at this brother. That's a beautiful truth to have. Know that Black, Hispanics, and Indigenous people are the greatest people to walk this earth. Like it says in Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 6 that the children of Israel are above all people on the face of the earth. These are beautiful truth to learn, and that's what we're teaching here in the I.S.U.P.K. We're teaching our people to take their culture back, take their history back, take their identity back, their language, their religion, their beliefs, their God, their way of life. And that way of life is very free. This is something that we go over every Monday night in our history class. Again, this is Monday night history class. We're live from 5 till 7 p.m. every Monday on this channel, teaching history to our people. And one of the main things that we go over, how would I say that? One of the main things that we go over is basically who we were historically and what our way of life used to be like. When we open this Bible and we look at our records, we start to learn that we had a way of life. We start to learn that we were civilized. It wasn't like that story that Europeans taught us growing up here in the school systems that we were just Africans swinging on trees, living in jungles with no clothing on, and just uncivilized people. That was a lie that has been taught to us. It's a lie that the Native Indian, the North American First Nations people were living in Canada as savages, and that they were a people that needed to be colonized and civilized. These things are all lies. That is not the truth. It's not the truth that Christ spoke of. The truth is that we are the greatest people that ever walked this earth, and we were extremely civilized as a people. We had an extremely civilized way of life. We had law and order. We had just judgment, just punishment, things for how to deal with somebody who sells drugs, how to deal with somebody who's a thief, how to deal with somebody who's greedy, who's an adulterer, an adulteress. These different things that happen in society, the laws of the Bible deal with. There's punishments for all the different laws in the Bible. And these things will help us to govern ourselves as a people. And that's the truth that Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous people need. We need law and order. We need these laws of the Bible. Without that, we are just an immoral people. It says in the book of Proverbs that when the righteous are in authority, the people would rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people mourn. And you look at this earth today, and the entire earth is in mourning. It's in mourning because immoral people are ruling this earth. It says in Job that the earth was given to the hands of the wicked. There are wicked people ruling this earth right now. Not the righteous people who are ruling this earth and inspiring people to be a moral people. So as we come back to the truth of the Bible, the truth being the law, statutes, and commandments, learning who we are, who our identity is, and living out this life that Christ laid as an example for us, we will find so much freedom. You understand? So we got to come back to our culture. This history class is, again, going to teach our people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous people, who they were, who they are, where they come from, and the lifestyle that they need to be living. Something coming up this week. Let me see the date. We got Father's Day coming up. Father's Day, let's see the map or the calendar, what it says, is on Sunday, June 16th. Sunday, June 16th is going to be this Sunday coming up. Okay, today is Monday the 10th. Sunday, June 16th, Father's Day is coming up. And what are Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous people in Canada going to do? They're going to celebrate their father. They might get them a card. They might get them some tools, get them a gift card. Who knows how they're going to celebrate Father's Day coming up. Sure, every household is different. And this is a day when this society gains millions of dollars off of selling you an idea that this is how people should celebrate and honor their father. And again, this society is a people who are wicked, a wicked people who are ruling this earth right now, are going to tell you and teach you how to celebrate and honor your father. They say once a year we should celebrate our fathers. In the I.S.U.P.K, we celebrate our fathers every day. Every single day we honor our father. That's a law in the Bible, to honor your mother and your father. How do you honor your father? Being Black, Hispanic, or Indigenous? Listen to him. Listen to him when he's raising you as a child and he tells you not to be a drug dealer, not to be a drug addict. If you have a righteous man who is keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Bible, and he is guiding you and teaching you on how you are to be a man of God, how you are to be morally according to God, you need to listen to that man. And the scriptures say, train up a child in the way he should go. And the way that we need to train up our children is keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of God. On Monday the 17th, we have the Feast of First Fruits coming up. That's what this class is about today. And the Feast of First Fruits is a feast that we are supposed to keep every single year. I bet you if I were to go around asking Christians right now, what is the Feast of First Fruits? I don't think any Christian would know what the Feast of First Fruits is. I don't think any Christian knows what the Feast of First Fruits is. I don't think they've ever heard of it. And if you don't know what the Feast of First Fruits are, you are not being trained up as a child in the way that you should go. Your parents are not teaching you what the Feast of First Fruits are. They're not training you up in the way that you should go. Because that is a holy convocation that the children of Israel are supposed to keep every single year. And so you're sitting in that Christian church today, you're getting ready to celebrate Father's Day. I bet you there's going to be Dude, it's on Sunday. I bet you're going to wake up Sunday morning, go to church, and hear about the pastors speak about fathers and how we need to honor them and celebrate them and how beautiful and wonderful fathers are and how important they are. I bet you every Christian pastor is going to speak about Father's Day. And no Christian pastor is going to speak about the Feast of First Fruits because they are not training you up in the way that you should go. And if you're a brother or sister who is learning about the laws, statutes, and commandments of God and how you are supposed to be, if you have a father and he's not telling you to keep the laws of God, you still honor him by keeping the laws of God. No father in their right mind wants their child to be addicted to drugs. No father in their right mind wants their child to be a drug dealer or a thief or a murderer, gang banging, whatever it may be. No father in their right mind wants those things. And so you honor your father by keeping the laws of God. You honor your father by being a moral human being. And that morality comes from God. It comes from the Bible. You understand? That is how we honor our fathers. Another way that we can honor our parents is that when they get in their old age, you take care of them the way that they took care of you as a child. Because there was a time when you were in diapers. There was a time when you needed somebody to cook for you. And one day your parents are going to hit an age where they cannot cook for themselves. They're going to hit an age where they need somebody to change their diaper. And as your parents start getting in that age, or once they become in that age, you can honor them by taking care of them in their older ages. That is how you honor your parents. That's how you honor your mother, or your father and your mother. It's not by getting them a card from Hallmark once a year with a gift attached to it. That is not how you honor your parents. You understand? That is just how you keep the customs of the people that colonized you. How you keep the customs of the people who sexually abused our women, who lynched our men. You understand? By keeping these customs, you're following the ways of your colonizer. These are people who lynched your ancestors, set you on fire, and fed you to pigs. Father's Day is a part of his society and his customs. That is not the truth that Christ was speaking of. Christ himself, he never celebrated Father's Day. There is no scripture in the Bible that speaks about Father's Day. Why? Because that's not an important way of life. It's not an important custom. You read through the book of Ecclesiastes, King Solomon, being the wisest man to ever walk this earth, told you that all of these things are vain. All of these things are vanity. Anything without God is vanity. He summed it up in Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. This is the conclusion of the whole duty of man. This is the conclusion of the matter, to keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments. Why? Because if you go to verse 14, because we are going to be judged for everything that we do here on earth. Everything that we do here on earth. You read a verse like Amos 5 and verse 21 where God said, I despise your feast days. Father's Day is not a feast day of the Lord. Father's Day is not a day that the Most High said was set apart or holy. It's not a day that's an important day to celebrate. But he did say the Feast of First Fruits is. You read through the New Testament, you'll see that the disciples kept the Feast of First Fruits. It said that Christ was perfect. Christ kept all the laws, statutes, and commandments of God. That was his, you could say, litmus test of being perfect. He went above and beyond and sacrificed his life for the love of his people. That is the type of people that we need to be. And Father's Day is not included in that. Keeping the Feast of First Fruits is. And as we get through this class, you're going to see why this feast day is so important. You stay in classes long enough with the I.S.U.P.K, you'll start to see why all of the feast days of the Lord are so important, how much meaning they have, all the lessons that we can learn from keeping these feasts. We can learn how a society could be better, how a society could better rule their people. Right? Let's get into that. Matter of fact, let's start in that verse. If we go to, let me share my screen. One sec, let me share my screen. So if we go to the book of Leviticus, Leviticus chapter 23, right? Leviticus chapter 23, if you start at verse 2, it says, "Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts." Father's Day is not a feast day of the Lord. When the Most High said, "I hate, I despise your feast days," he was speaking about Father's Day. He was speaking about Mother's Day. He was speaking about Valentine's Day, Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, all these different holidays, all these different feasts that people keep in the world. These are not the feast days of the Lord. You read through Leviticus chapter 23, you will see the feasts of the Lord. We jump down to verse 22. Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 22 says, "And when ye reap the harvest of your land." Okay, this is a law in the Bible. This is a law to govern Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous people. This is a law on how to govern a nation, govern a country. Imagine if Canada listened to this law. It says, "And when you reap the harvest of your land." Imagine if every single farmer inside of North America obeyed this law. When they go to reap the harvest of their land, when all those fruits and vegetables are ripe and ready to be picked and distributed throughout the population. It says, "And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field when thou reapest." Imagine if every farmer in North and South Central America, they did not glean the corners of their fields. They did not harvest the corners of your fields. Now, when you think of a field, most fields and most lots are allotted in a square or rectangle form. Of course, there's different lots that might look a little different, but for the most part, if you were to go buy land today, your plot of land is going to be squared or rectangle. That's how most lands look. And so you go to look at a farmer's land, you're going to see their land look almost like in boxes and rectangles, because that's just how most people have or divide their lands up. So now imagine if every farmer in North and South Central America, that they did not make clean riddance of the corners of their field. They just left the corners of their field. It says, "Neither shalt thou gather any gleaning of thine harvest." Right? What is a gleaning of your harvest? It means, think of all the fruits and vegetables that just fall to the ground on its own. You're a farmer, you're out there and you're just picking up and harvesting all the fruits and vegetables. And then there's some vegetables that have, they've fallen off and they're just on the ground. You're going around and you see the corners of your field, you just leave the corners of your field. You don't gather everything. This law is saying, don't be a greedy bastard. You think of Canada today, they have every type of machine in the world to make sure that they gather every single fruit and vegetable, because that's going inside the grocery store to where they can make money. Farmers today are millionaires, damn near billionaires. They're out here making millions of dollars because of how they do business. And so again, this law is saying, don't make clean riddance of the corners of thy field, neither shalt thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest. Thou shalt leave them unto the poor and to the stranger. I am the Lord your God. Our God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of the Israelites, the power of blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous people. He is a righteous God. You understand? He is a loving God. He cares about his people. He cares so much about the people that he says, if you're a person who has some kind of power, you have a responsibility to the people who have less power in a society. You're a farmer, leave the corners of your field. Leave some of the gleanings of your harvest so that the poor can eat, so that the stranger can eat. This is why it says that the earth is given to the hands of the wicked, because Canada, the US, they do not operate like this. They are a people void of morality. If they had morality, you wouldn't see so many poor people out here suffering. There wouldn't be this big up in arms and riots and protests and how people need to help the poor more and this and that, and all the mental illness and all the issues that we're facing as a society. And how do we help these people with this and that? The Bible gives us a way to help these people out. For the people in the bottom would not be in mourning. Where the whole earth would not be in mourning, because a moral people would be ruling this earth. This is part of the reason lessons that we can learn from these different feast days are so important. We're reading Leviticus chapter 23. We're reading about the feast days of the Lord and how to deal with people. Okay, let's drop that. Let's go to, let's see, where do I want to start? Let's go to, I'm going to jump around a bit because, again, this is Monday night history class. And so I'll give a little history behind these feast days. Let's go to the book of Joshua chapter 5 and verse 10. Okay, Joshua chapter 5 and verse 10 says, and the children of Israel encamped in Gilgal and kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month, even in the plains of Jericho. So as we're coming out of Egypt, we're coming out of captivity, we being Black, Hispanic, and indigenous people, the children of Israel, when we're coming out of Egypt, we are establishing ourselves as a nation. We're establishing ourselves as a civilized people, as a civilized society. We're implementing these different laws, statutes, and commandments that Moses under the Most High and then given to Aaron to speak to the people on how we are to conduct ourselves and how we are to keep these feasts. So in Joshua 5 and verse 10, it's just letting us know that the children of Israel was in the wilderness keeping the Passover. They were in the wilderness keeping the feast days. When you read through the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, it tells Moses told Blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous people that how the Most High would bless us for listening to him. He would bless us for listening to him, and he would curse us for our disobedience to him. And so here we are in 2024 on the I.S.U.P.K. teaching our people how to obey God, how to follow his instructions, how to do what it is he says. And this Monday at evening is the Feast of First Fruits. Monday the 17th, Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous people, all of us need to keep this feast. And there is no excuse for not keeping this feast. There's no excuse for not being in Jerusalem, not being in the land of Israel, when we can clearly see our ancestors before entering the land of Israel were keeping these feasts. Don't make a location of where you are get in the way of you serving your God. Don't let where your geographical location be stop you from obeying God. That would be a very childish thing to do. It would not be a wise thing to do. The example that Christ left for us and the sacrifice he made, he didn't die on the cross so that you could still sin and be a sinner. He didn't die on the cross so that you didn't have to keep the Passover. So you didn't have to be a drug addict. So you didn't have to keep the Feast of First Fruits. Christ kept all of these things. And we can honor Christ and his example that he left for us by doing what it is he commanded us to do. There was a young boy who asked Christ, how do I enter the kingdom of heaven? And Christ said, keep the commandments. Not only keep the commandments, but sell everything that you have. Sell everything that you have so that you don't have an excuse or a reason not to obey me. Don't let money get in the way of you obeying. Don't be selfish. Don't be greedy. Don't let pride get in the way of serving your God. Don't let what you think being right get in the way of you serving your God. Like it says in the book of Jeremiah that the heart is deceitful above all things. You should not be sitting there counseling yourself and telling yourself how it is that you should obey God. Because your mind is deceitful above all things. Don't counsel yourself. Ecclesiasticus says, afflict not thyself in thine own counsel. Don't be your own counselor. The Bible gives clear instructions on how you are to obey him. It says in Leviticus chapter 23 that we need to keep the Feast of First Fruits. This Monday coming up, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we all need to keep this feast and not make an excuse to sin. Let's drop Joshua. Let's go to the book of First Chronicles. Let's go to we'll go to First Chronicles chapter 24. We're going to start at verse 1. Okay, it says, now these are the divisions of the sons of Aaron. The sons of Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. Verse 2, but Nadab and Abihu died before their father and had no children. Therefore, Eleazar and Ithamar executed the priest's office. So what happened historically is that the Most High decided that the sons of Aaron would carry out the priesthood. Okay. The common phrase that you'll hear today is the Levitical priests. Okay, that's the tribe that Aaron was from Levi. Okay. and his sons executed the office of a priest. Okay, it says, therefore Eleazar and Ithamar executed the priest's office, and David distributed them, both Zadok of the sons of Eleazar and Ahimelech of the sons of Ithamar, according to their offices in their service. And there were more chief men found of the sons of Eleazar and of the sons of Ithamar. And thus were they divided. Among the sons of Eleazar were there 16 chief men of the house of their fathers, and 8 among the sons of Ithamar, according to the house of their fathers. So these priests held, or Aaron's sons held, the office of a priest. And they divided the duties up. Okay, he had many sons. Is it this chapter? Yep, you read down from around verse 8, or starting at verse 7 on down to around 18. You see that you see the different lineage and the different sons that Aaron had. And these different brothers held the office of a priest. They might have held the office for a priest for a week, and then a new brother would step in and take on the priestly duties. Okay, these priestly duties were divided up. Okay, let's go to let's go to 2 Chronicles 35 and verse 14. Okay, I'm going to run through this a little quick because we got a lot of information to bring out. So let's go 2 Chronicles chapter 35. What do I want in verse 14? Okay, so this is 2 Chronicles chapter 35 and verse 14, and it says, and afterward they made ready for themselves and for the priests, because the priests of the sons of Aaron were busied in offering of burnt offerings and the fat until night. Therefore the Levites prepared for themselves and for the priests of the sons of Aaron. So why am I bringing this verse out? Because you're seeing here where all the priests were working together. Right? It said they made them for themselves ready and for the priests, because the priests of the sons of Aaron were busy in offering of burnt offerings and the fat until night. So now we had times throughout the year where these priests were taking on different duties throughout the year. Why? Because there's many different things and responsibilities that a priest holds. His office, his duties that a priest has. There's many different duties that a priest has and carries out. And there's also a time where all the priests get together and do the work. All the priests come together and work together. There's times like the Passover where you're going to see in the I.S.U.P.K, all the priests come together and work together to serve this nation. In the I.S.U.P.K, a phrase that we say and we keep is that we live the Bible. We live the Bible because we do everything that we can to maintain the traditions of our ancestors, to maintain the culture of our ancestors. Right, this right down to you see me wearing this war scarf. Right, this war scarf with the crown of our head being uncovered. This is an Israelite tradition and custom for the priests to wear, wearing their mitris and their warlike apparel, their garments and their different robes and clothing that they wore. This is what we do in the I.S.U.P.K. And what we're reading right now is a tradition of our ancestors. There's a time, there's a couple times throughout the year where all the priests come together and they work together because there's many duties that need to be completed. Okay, they're gathering together here in 2 Chronicles because they're preparing for a feast. All right, let's drop that. Let's go to Deuteronomy 16 and 16. Okay, we got a couple scriptures we're going to run through. And then we'll give more history to this feast, Feast of First Fruits. So Deuteronomy 16 and 16 says, 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God, in the place which he shall choose. Okay, so like I just said in 2 Chronicles, there's a 3 times during the year where all the priests will come together. Understand? Come together, perform their priestly duties. There's 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God, in the place which he shall choose. It says in the place where he shall choose. I had somebody, a brother, ask me, I guess it was a couple weeks back now, when we had just were getting ready to celebrate the Passover. And this was a brother who couldn't understand why he's seeing these different Israelite groups pop up and keep different Passovers. They're celebrating a different day, or they're celebrating at a different location. He's wondering what's the difference between the I.S.U.P.K's Passover and another group's Passover. Well, when we read through the Bible, we see that it clearly says where the Lord thy God shall choose. You're going to see a couple times throughout the scriptures where he says, for example, to keep the Passover where his name is. Read that in the book of Deuteronomy, where we keep feast days where the Lord chooses, where the Lord puts his name. And it's important that you ask yourself as a Black, Hispanic, or Indigenous person, where is the Lord? Where has he chosen to keep his feast, to hold his feast? Where has he put his name? If you don't believe that the Lord is with the I.S.U.P.K, then you should not join here. Not only should you not join here, we do not want you here. We're not begging you to be with us. We're not begging for more numbers and more people. And we do not care about numbers. We grow in strength as we decrease, as the Bible says. And so what it's saying here, where the Lord thy God, in the place which he shall choose, you got to understand that the Lord chooses where his name is. He chooses who's on his side and who is not. And that is what all of us have to find. All of us have to find. If you don't believe that God is in the church, you got to stop going to church. I see some people out there still inside of Christianity, following the religion of their slave master, their colonizer, following the religion that was beaten into them. And they're sitting there going to church knowing that this pastor does not follow everything that the Bible says, knowing that their pastor is not keeping the Feast of First Fruits, knowing that their pastor doesn't celebrate Passover, knowing that their pastor is sitting there eating pork and ribs and shrimp, crab, lobster, and every disgusting and foul thing that God said is an abomination. That is clearly not the place where God has put his name. Christ said that ye shall know them by their fruits. You want to know where the Lord is, you can just look at the fruits of an organization. Look at what people the organization produces. Look at what type of men are being raised in the I.S.U.P.K. Look at what type of women are being raised inside the I.S.U.P.K. And you can decide whether those are good fruits or bad fruits. I just saw a video last week where a Christian pastor was, how do I say it without getting banned? was sexually abusing a 16-year-old boy. And the police officer told this grown man, this pastor, this Christian pastor, when they caught them in the act, they caught them in the backseat of his car. He asked that pastor, or he told the pastor, just tell me what you're doing. It's no big deal. You don't got to hide it. This is 2024. The LGBTQ community has taken over North and South Central America. It's taken over the world. But the largest gay pride parade over in Israel, over in Tel Aviv right now. I think Gay Pride Month is coming up right now. Right now, as they're getting ready for Gay Pride Parade, they catch this Christian pastor in the back seat. This grown man, he's 40 years old, in the back seat of a car with a 16-year-old boy. And this cop tries to get him to confess to what he's doing. He says, it's no big deal. What's going on? You can tell me. And this despicable Christian pastor said, oh, I'm just, performing. What can I say on TikTok and YouTube? Do not ban me. Performing oral sex on a minor. And you want to tell me that there's good fruits inside of the Christian church? This is your Christian pastor. So many stories of this have been coming out for years upon years. Nobody has to debate or prove that God is not with the Christian church. You can just look at the fruits of the people. Everybody in there is an alcoholic, addicted to cigarettes, addicted to drugs, divorcing their women, divorcing their husbands, abusing their children, abusing their spouses. Christian church is a place of immorality. Christian church is the house of Satan. Christian church is where every foul spirit lives. Ye shall know them by their fruits. It's not a hard thing to prove that God is not with the Christian church. It's a very easy thing to prove. And so again, it says, 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose. 3 times a year, all the males gather together. And it says, in the feast of unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles. And they shall not appear before thy Lord empty. You understand? So 3 times a year, you have the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which we know in the I.S.U.P.K was around a little over 6 weeks ago. About 6 weeks ago, we had the Feast of Unleavened Bread, where we gathered as a nation. We gathered in the I.S.U.P.K, Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous people. We celebrated the Feast of Unleavened Bread. For 7 days, we ate unleavened bread, flat bread. We celebrated that feast, and we did it in honor of the Most High in Christ. And then as you count 50 days from there, it says, and in the Feast of Weeks. What is the Feast of Weeks? The Feast of Weeks is the Feast of First Fruits. Feast of Weeks is the Feast of First Fruits. I'm going to prove that as we go through this class. No Christian pastor is telling you to keep the Feast of Weeks. Okay, and in the Feast of Weeks, the priests, the sons of Aaron, would gather together and do their duties. And in the Feast of Tabernacles. And they shall not appear before the Lord empty. Okay. And so what are the Feast of Weeks? Let's drop this. I got a quick PowerPoint that I'm going to share. Okay, to give some more history on the Feast of Tabernacles. Okay. So let's go through this really quick. I got a quick slideshow. Okay. So we're going to go through what the Feast of Weeks is. We get a little more history. And so what we're going to read from is, it's called The Antiquities of the Jews. Okay, this is a man named Flavius Josephus, who recorded his interactions with the children of Israel. This is a historian who recorded his interactions with the Jews. And I wouldn't say that there's, no, forgive me. How would I say it? So basically, Flavius Josephus was a historian who recorded his interactions with the Israelites. This is a source outside of the Bible. And I'm bringing this up in a history class because many people, especially our indigenous brothers and sisters, they're so scared of the Bible. So scared of the Bible specifically because of what Catholic priests and Catholic nuns did to them inside of residential schools. Not only what they did to them inside of residential schools, but who they simply are as a people. You had Europeans come over to North and South Central America and colonize and destroy the land and the indigenous people that were over here. And they tried to force Christianity on top of them. You had some indigenous people look at Christianity and say, if Europeans are going to be in heaven, that is not a place where I want to go. Why? Because Europeans committed mass genocide on their people. They did it under the guise of Christianity. And so indigenous people were looking at them like, well, if you guys are Christians and you guys are claiming to be civilized, you guys are clearly an evil race of people that we want nothing to do with. And so because of people misusing and misrepresenting the Bible and what it speaks about and what it represents, you have some people, many people who are skeptical of the Bible. Unless you pick that book up for yourself and actually read it, you're just going to look at what Christianity and different religious people and organizations have claimed to do in the name of God. But when you read the Bible and you read things like what Christ told us is that you shall know them by their fruits, you would know that those wicked, disgusting Catholic priests are not a representation of God. It is in the book of Deuteronomy that it says that sexually abusing a child, forcing yourself on a woman is a disgusting and abominable thing. The Lord is not with that. The Lord is not okay with child abuse. It's not okay with sexual abuse. These things are against God. And anybody who's claiming to be a representation of God who is doing these things, he is lying to you. She is lying to you. It says in the book of Ecclesiasticus that the Lord hated sinners. He hates sin and the sinner. The Lord is not with these things. These people are not representations of God. So in this history class, we're able to look at different sources like Flavius Josephus, and we can see different recordings of what the children of Israel did. Another reason things like these sources are good is because it takes a lot of that spirituality off of the Bible, the mysticism off the Bible, where again, you have wicked, evil Catholic priests telling you that snakes can talk and that there's flying dragons and women having conversations with talking snakes. They like to teach different nonsense and garbage inside the Bible when really the Bible is a book of history. It's a book that records different wars that the children of Israel had gone through. It's a book that records our constitution, our way of life. It's a book that records genealogies, family trees, and lineages of famous people inside of our nation. It speaks about our kings and our judges. It speaks about honorable men who did honorable things in the sight of the Most High. That's what's in the Bible. So when we read something like Flavius Josephus, who's just a historian recording his interactions with the children of Israel, we're just reading history. Now, it's not the I.S.U.P.K stance that everything necessarily inside of Flavius Josephus is 100% accurate and true, but there are many things in there that are good sources to use. Okay, so going through the antiquities of Flavius Josephus, okay, we get to slide 2. This is in his book 3, chapter 10. Okay, book 3, chapter 10, we're in section 5. It says, in the month of Xanthicus, which is by us called Nisan, and it's the beginning of our year, on the 14th day of the lunar month, when the sun is in Aries. For in this month, it was that we were delivered from bondage under the Egyptians. The law ordained that we should every year slay and sacrifice, which I before told you we slew when we came out of Egypt, and which was called the Passover. So we have an account of an historian speaking about different feasts that the children of Israel kept. Not only the children of Israel kept, but even speaking about a time where the children of Israel came out of captivity in Egypt. There's some people out there who say that the nation of Israel was just non-existent. It didn't exist. That there's no records of the children of Israel ever being inside of Egypt. People like to make claims like this, but here we are reading an historian's account of different things that took place amongst these people. Okay, it says, and so we celebrated this Passover in companies, leaving nothing of what we sacrificed till the day followed. The Feast of Unleavened Bread succeeds that of the Passover and falls on the 15th day of the month and continues 7 days, wherein they feed on unleavened bread, on every one of which days 2 bulls are killed and 1 ram and 7 lambs. Now these lambs are entirely burnt beside the kid of the goats, which is added to all the rest, for sins. For it is intended as a feast for the priest on every one of those days. But on the 2nd day of unleavened bread, which is in the 16th day of the month, they first partake of the first fruits of the earth. Before that day, they do not touch them. So what we're reading about right there specifically is the Feast of First Fruits. The Feast of First Fruits, which is coming up this Monday at sundown. Okay? And it says, and while they suppose it proper to honor God, from whom they obtained this plentiful provision in the first place, they offer the first fruits of their barley, and that in the manner following. So we're seeing where our people, Blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous people, is that we honored the Most High with our first fruits, the best of our harvest. And not only did we honor that as a sacrifice to the Most High, but we honored the Most High by sacrificing it to Him. But Slaki, what did it say again? Not only did we do that, but Slaki, yeah, that's my point. Let me read that again. It says, and while they suppose it proper to honor God, from whom they obtained this plentiful provision. So what I was saying is that not only did they honor the Most High with the sacrifice, but the children of Israel, they didn't thank cornucopia for their harvest. They didn't have some goddess and god of harvest and some frog god of water and whatever god of rain and this and that. The children of Israel, they gave the Most High thanks for their harvest. And that's something that every Black, Hispanic, and indigenous people need to do today. Right? Like Christ told us that the Most High knows about every hair that's on our head. He cares about us. He loves us. He knows about every strand that's on our head. So we don't need to worry about going hungry. We don't need to worry about where our food is coming and where it's not coming from. Because the Most High cares and loves us and takes care of us and provides for us. And that's a lesson that we need to learn as a people, to give thanks to the Most High for the things that we have, to be grateful for what He's allowed us to have, because food comes from Him, harvest comes from Him, finances and resources and shelter and all of these things come from the Most High. The Most High created this earth and everything in it. We got to give the Most High thanks for the things that we have. And this historian is recording that the children of Israel gave thanks to the Most High for what he's made and created. So what is it for us to not glean our fields of every fruit and vegetable that falls on the floor, falls on the ground? What is it to not reap the corners of our field and leave it for the poor when the Most High gave us this harvest? The Most High is providing food and shelter and everything for us. Why do we have to be so greedy? Why can't we just let the poor eat? What is the big deal with paying 10% of our income in tithes? I.S.U.P.K, you get a check, you give 10% to the Most High. That's His money. It doesn't belong to you. These are lessons that we need to learn as a people. Right? It says, proper honor to God. It says, they take a handful of the ears and dry them, then beat them small and purge the barley from the bran. They then bring 1/10 deal to the altar to God, and casting one handful of it upon the fire, they leave the rest for the use of the priests. And after this, it is that they may publicly or privately reap their harvest. They also, at this participation of the first fruits of the earth, sacrifice a lamb as a burnt offering to God. Okay, so this is this historian letting Blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous people know that this was a feast that we kept. It was a feast that we kept, and Many of the things that he was just speaking on and listing, we read about in the Bible. The Most High gave us these instructions to do in the Feast of First Fruits and these different feasts. And you see an historian making account of the things that we were doing. Okay. This is section 6. It says, when a week of weeks has passed over after this sacrifice. What is that week of weeks? We just read that in Deuteronomy. Right? We just read that Feast of Weeks. Okay, because that was another name for the Feast of First Fruits. Okay. So it says, when a week of weeks has passed over after this sacrifice, which weeks contain 49 days. On the 50th day, which is Pentecost, but is called by the Hebrews Asartha. Now, this is what you hear in the Christian church. What you might find in some Catholic or Christian churches is where they speak about Pentecost. Okay. Penta is, I believe it's in Greek origins of a word. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I have to double check that, but it's not the most important thing on the origins. However, the word penta, meaning 5. Okay. And that's what I want to focus on, is meaning 5, penta. Okay. And that is where Christians today get Pentecost from, because you're going to see this time where Christians start celebrating what they call Pentecost. They called it Pentecost because simply because of that number. Okay, that number being 50 days after the Feast of Unleavened Bread is over. Okay, it says, they bring to God a loaf made of wheat flour of 2/10 deals with leaven. For sacrifices, they bring 2 lambs. And when they have only presented them to God, they are made ready for supper for the priest. Nor is it permitted to leave anything of them till the day following. They also slay 3 bullocks for a burnt offering, and 2 rams, and 14 lambs, and 2 kids of goats for sins. Nor is there any one of the festivals, but when they offer burnt offerings, they also allow themselves to rest on every one of them. Accordingly, the law prescribes in them all what kinds they are to sacrifice, and how they are to rest entirely, and must slay sacrifices in order to feast upon them. Okay, and we're going to read through the book of Leviticus what this feast looks like, what we did, and what this brother right here is describing is damn near right on point with what we read in the Bible. Okay, we're going to read in Leviticus on how we made these sacrifices to feast. Okay, we had holy convocations, holy gatherings. We had very large meals, and we gathered, and we partied, and we ate good food. That's in our law. All right. Let's jump to the next slide. All right. And so we're going to look in the Bible dictionary really quick just to see what many scholars, you could say, what they claim to be scholars and historians have gathered together of each word or name or whatever it may be in the Bible, just definitions of things. Okay, this is the Ultimate Bible Dictionary in the I.S.U.P.K, a source that we heavily advise brothers and sisters to get is a Zondervan Pictorial Bible Dictionary. Okay, it's a very good source, and in the Zondervan's Pictorial Bible Dictionary, you can read what Pentecost is. You can read what the Feast of First Fruits is. You'll read about some of the traditions, the definition of it, what it is. I'm damn near positive you're going to read Pentecost in the Zondervan's Pictorial Bible Dictionary. And so it's just a source that we can use. Okay, it's a source that we can use to just understand and define words better. Okay, like I said earlier in the class, prove all things. Okay, we're going to prove all things. I'm going to share some sources. We're going to go to the Ultimate Bible Dictionary, and we're going to go to Pentecost. What does it say in the Ultimate Bible Dictionary? Pentecost, it says, see festival, Feast of Weeks. So you have people who are researching about different definitions and defining words, and they're telling you that Pentecost is attached to the Feast of Weeks, and it is a festival. Now, why is that important? Because something that Christians lack to do is read. They do not read. They do not read the Bible. They don't read definitions. They don't read the definitions of words and the origins of words. Christians have absolutely no knowledge of the Bible whatsoever. They do not know a thing about the Bible. Not a thing. And they're going to listen to their Christian pastor talk about the Pentecost and have absolutely no idea what the Pentecost is. Not only are they not going to know what Pentecost is or where it comes from and how the celebration that they keep inside the church, how it came to be, they are not going to even celebrate it according to the traditions of what is spoken of in the Bible. I don't even have to go in the Bible to read about the history of Israelites from a historian explaining about one of their festivals that they kept. Right? So let's go to the Feast of Weeks in the Ultimate Bible Dictionary. It says it's the second of the 3 annual festivals. It says also called the Feast of Weeks. Okay, you can read about it in Deuteronomy 36 and 33, Deuteronomy 16 and 10, verse 16, 2 Chronicles, right, where it calls it the Feast of Harvest. Go to the book of Exodus, chapter 23. Okay, you go to Numbers, chapter 28. It says it was celebrated. Let's keep going. It was celebrated 7 complete weeks, or 50 days after Passover. Therefore, it was given the name Pentecost. Okay, again, this is where that name Pentecost came from. It says it was essentially a harvest celebration. The term weeks was used of the period of grain harvest from the barley harvest to the wheat harvest, a period of about 7 weeks. Okay, and so that's what the Bible Dictionary is saying about this harvest, so that we don't have to be confused on why Christians are calling something Pentecost. Because again, like I said earlier, if I were to ask a Christian today what the Feast of First Fruits is, they would look at me sideways like I'm crazy. They've never heard of this feast before. And what a pastor might try to say or loosely say, maybe somebody who knows a little bit more about the Bible, that man standing behind the pulpit at every church service you go to, he might tell you that Pentecost comes from the Feast of Weeks. He might say that. To where I would ask him, well, then why aren't you celebrating it or keeping the customs the way that the Bible instructs us to? They do not. They do not follow the traditions of the Israelites or the traditions of the culture. They're at church doing their own thing. Right? So we're going to get into the Bible to read what the Feast of First Fruits is. Okay? Let's go to good place to start is Leviticus chapter 23. Okay, pull up my Bible and share my screen. And we'll go through what the Bible says about the Feast of First Fruits. Okay, let's go to Leviticus chapter 23. My screen shared it. Leviticus 23, and I believe it's around, we'll start at verse 10. Okay, so this is Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 10. It says, "Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest." Verse 11, "And he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord." Okay, so what we did as a tradition and what we were commanded to do was we would get our harvest and we would put what we've gathered or whatever it may be inside of a basket, and we would wave that before the priests so that they could see that this is what we've gathered. This is a law from God. It says, "And he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it." Okay, so we're about to read about what the Feast of First Fruits is in the Bible. And yeah, we're about to read it in the Bible. Verse 12, it says, "And ye shall offer that day when ye wave the sheaf, and he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto the Lord." Okay, so not only did we gather our fruits and our vegetables, okay, we gathered that and we gave that as an offering to the Lord. It was also a command to get a lamb without blemish. Okay, to get a lamb without blemish. So what did that mean? Is that we were getting ready to eat meat. We were getting a lamb without blemish. We weren't getting a lamb with 3 legs or 2 legs hobbling around. We got a lamb that didn't have any deformities, didn't have anything wrong with it. Lamb without blemish. Okay? Something that we could eat and enjoy, something that was nice and healthy. We were offering that as a burnt offering unto the Lord. You know, there's a lot of Christians out there who love to say that, you know, it's a biblical thing and it's a beautiful thing not to eat meat. But we are reading right here a commandment to eat meat. That is what we are about to read. Okay, and it's not unlawful to be a quote unquote vegetarian, but there are going to be times throughout the year where it is a commandment to eat meat. If you are at the Passover, you are going to have to eat meat. That is a commandment from God. All right. Let's go to verse 13. It says, "And the meat offering thereof shall be 2/10 deals of fine flour mingled with oil." Okay, what's that saying? You have that meat that you're about to offer to the Lord. You get some meat out and put some batter on it. You take out the flour, you know what I mean? Put some batter over top of the meat, and you fry that thing in some oil. It is going to taste beautiful. It is going to taste lovely. It is going to be something that we enjoy as a people. Right? It says, an offering made by fire unto the Lord for a sweet savor. Right? What does it mean, sweet savor? It means it tastes good. This day is Feast of First Fruits, and we're about to feast. We can't cook some garbage food. We can't put something together that doesn't taste good and isn't well seasoned and cooked properly. And you know what I mean? We can't cook garbage on this feast. It's a law in the Bible for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to enjoy this meal, to cook something that tastes good. Cook something that tastes good and to enjoy it. It says, and the drink offering thereof shall be of wine. What else are we commanded to do? We're commanded to get us some liquor. We're going to get us some liquor and have a good, nice, strong drink with a nice meal. Some well-cooked lamb. This is a commandment in the Bible. It says, the fourth part of an hin, verse 14, and ye shall eat neither bread nor parched corn nor green ears until the selfsame day that ye have brought an offering unto your God. Okay, so you're going to get out your fruits, vegetables, some bread, right? Cook up that meat. You're going to have some nice drinks, and you're going to party. You're going to have a feast, a holy convocation. Holy convocation meaning a set-apart gathering. Okay? This is a feast day of the Lord. This is an honorable thing that the Most High wants us to do. Okay? Verse 14, and ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Okay, so now this is where you get those 50 days from, right? What Flavius Josephus was recording that he saw, those 50 days, we're reading that right here in the 15th chapter of Leviticus 23. Right? When you count 7 Sabbaths, that is 49 days. And when it says, and ye shall count unto you from the morrow, so this is where that additional day comes from. From the morrow, you count 7 Sabbaths. So you have 49 days plus 1 day. You have 50 days. That is where Christians are getting Pentecost from. Where Flavius Josephus got those 50 days from. Okay? And this is where you're getting why sometimes it's called the Feast of Weeks. Okay? It's the same feast. It's just another way to identify this feast. Feast of First Fruits, Feast of Weeks. Okay, I think we can drop that. Let me see if there's anywhere else. Verse 16. Verse 16, even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days, and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord. Right? So again, after those 50 days, you're going to offer a new meat offering unto the Lord. You can get ready to get out some chicken, some beef, whatever it may be. But you are going to eat meat again. I said earlier, you can't not eat meat on some of these feast days. You can't be a vegetarian for every day out of the year. And it should also further let you know that being a vegetarian is not something that is of God. It's not something that is a requirement. We have laws through, you can read through the book of Leviticus where he tells you what is clean and what is unclean. And all the meats that are clean, you can eat. There's nothing wrong with eating lamb, nothing wrong with eating a bullock or bulls or goats and chicken and quail, and whatever other lawful meat there is, all the different fish with fins and scales. There is plenty of food out there, plenty of meat out there that is lawful and is good. And then there's other laws where there is meat you cannot eat. It is a disgusting, abominable thing to eat duck. To eat things with those webbed feet. You cannot eat that. It's a disgusting thing to eat pork. Those pork ribs that your pastor loves to eat, that is an abominable thing. It's disgusting. Shrimp, crab, lobster. See people out here in Florida, you guys love your shark and your snake and alligators. Those things are disgusting. Right? In some places in the South, that crawfish, you cannot eat those things. Those things the Most High is against eating, but he is not against us eating all meat. There is clean meat that is delicious, and those are the things that we should consume. There's nothing wrong with it. All right. Let's drop that. Let's go to what's time we got left to? Okay, let's jump to the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 26. Well, Deuteronomy 26, we'll start at verse 1. Okay, Deuteronomy 26 and verse 1 says, "And it shall be, thou art come in unto the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance, and possessest it, and dwellest therein." Verse 2, "That thou shalt take of the first of all the fruit of the earth, which thou shalt bring of thy land that the Lord thy God giveth thee." Okay, and so this is the spirit that we got to be in, that we should be in every day of the year. Not just in the first Feast of First Fruits, but Feast of First Fruits is a reminder on the type of people that we should be, the type of characters that we should embody. Right? When you look at the story of Cain and Abel, you see that Abel gave the Most High his best. You read through that story, you see that Cain was not willing to give that meat to the Most High. He didn't want to give the Most High a lamb without blemish. He wasn't willing to give up his best. You understand? And the Most High favored Abel because of that. He favored Abel's sacrifice because Abel was not greedy. Not only was Abel not greedy, but he recognized where his food came from. He said in Flavius Josephus, where his provisions came from. He gave thanks to the Most High, and he honored the Most High, and he sacrificed his best to the Most High, and that is what the Most High wants of us. That's the spirit of the Feast of First Fruits. It is to give the Most High our best. Give the Most High our first, our best. That's the spirit that we should be in as Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous people. It says in verse 2 that thou shalt take of the first of all the fruit of the earth, which thou shalt bring of thy land that the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shalt put it in a basket, and shalt go unto the place which the Lord thy God shall choose to place his name there. Right? Like I said earlier, the Lord chooses where he puts his name. And where he puts his name is where we need to be. Gathered together, as Zechariah chapter 2 and verse 1 says. Right? Not split up, not divided as a nation. Not divided like these nations that conspire against us to do to us. He wants us to know who we are, to know that we're the children of God. Blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous people are in a covenant with the Most High. And what we do matters. How we live out our lives matter. Obeying God and keeping his laws matter. We need to be gathered together as a nation keeping these laws. And we need to gather where the Most High puts his name. Verse 3 says, "And thou shalt go unto the priest that shall be in those days, and say unto him, I profess this day unto the Lord thy God, that I am come unto the country which the Lord sware unto our fathers for to give us." And that's what we should desire as Blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous people. That land flowing with milk and honey. That land on earth that is better than everywhere else on earth to be. They call it the Middle East today, but the Most High calls that the land of Israel. It says in Ezra, in the book of 2nd Ezra, that that land is the Most High's favorite land. It's the Most High's favorite pit. His favorite city is Jerusalem. His favorite place is Zion. His favorite people are the children of Israel. And that's the land that we should desire to live in, not the land of our oppressor. There's nothing over here in North and South Central America for us. Most High promised Abraham and his seed through Isaac and Jacob that we would have a beautiful inheritance here on this earth. Right? It says in verse 4, "And the priest shall take the basket out of thine hand and set it down before the altar of the Lord thy God. And thou shalt speak and say before the Lord thy God, a Syrian ready to perish was my father. And he went down into Egypt and sojourned there with a mighty few, and became there a nation, great, mighty, and populous." Right? And what's that speaking about with that Syrian? That's just letting you know that Syria was a land or our forefather Abraham traveled through Haran. And Haran was a place inside of Syria. And so you're going to read throughout the Bible a couple of times where one of our ancestors might be referred to as the land that they were dwelling in. Like we're seeing here where it says a Syrian. It doesn't mean that we were literally Syrians. Just letting you know that we lived there or dwelt there. Like Ruth being a Moabitish woman, she dwelt in the land of Moab, which was in the land of Ephraim. Okay? It does not mean that Ruth was a Moabite. It doesn't mean that Cornelius was a Roman. Okay? These were Israelites. This Bible is a book for us, by us. For the children of Israel, by the children of Israel. Right? It says, became there a nation, great, mighty, and populous. Verse 6. And the Egyptians evil entreated us and afflicted us and laid upon us hard bondage. Right? Just as our oppressors do to us today. Verse 7. And when we cried unto the Lord God of our fathers, the Lord heard our voice and looked on our affliction and our labor and our oppression. It's exactly what Blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous people go through today. We work our asses off here in North and South Central America and scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and we have nothing to show for it. We don't have an inheritance to pass on to our children, which is a law in the Bible. You're a brother who gets a second wife. There are laws in the Bible to protect the inheritance that you would give your son, not to give your inheritance to your or everything to, say, your fifth-born son who came from another wife, just because you may favor her more than your other wife. Most High understands and honors how valuable an inheritance is. And in North and South Central America and throughout the entire earth, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we do not have an inheritance to pass on to our children. We don't have an inheritance to pass on to our eldest. Not something that is worthy to be of any value. There was a sister speaking to me about trying to explain how important it is to get life insurance. Just because there's many people who are, many Black families specifically, who they might have built up this inheritance for their children, and they were able to purchase a house and pay off their house, and their house gained in value and this and that. And as they are unalived and pass away, when the children try to get that house, they have to pay more in transfer taxes than what the actual value of the house even is. And so many times these children aren't even taking the houses. And so you think in North America that you gain something for your children have no access to this because they don't have an inheritance. We don't have generational wealth inside of our communities. And this is why we're afflicted over here. This is why we're oppressed over here. We're forced to live in ghettos, barrios, and the reservations. How redlining affects us, how gentrification affects us. These different things we don't have to give to our kids. Verse 8 says, "And the Lord brought us forth out of Egypt with a mighty hand, and with an outstretched arm, and with great terribleness, and with signs and wonders." Verse 9, "And he hath brought us into this place, and hath given us this land, even a land that floweth with milk and honey." And again, that's something that we should desire to have. We should desire to have rulership. We should desire to have our own government, our own language, our own dollar bill, our own schools, and our own justice system and court system. These are things that we should desire as a nation. Verse 10 says, "And now behold, I have brought the first fruits of the land which thou, O Lord, hast given me. And thou shalt set it before thy Lord thy God, and worship before the Lord thy God." Christ has to have a people who is worthy to rule before he comes back. Waiting for 144,000 men who wouldn't bow the knee to Baal, who wouldn't worship their oppressors and their slave masters and colonizers and give up their morals and their cultures to serve another nation. But a people who would stand up and worship and celebrate and honor Christ and their forefathers. The book of Baruch says, hear the prayers of the dead Israelites. Think about your ancestors. Think about everything that we've been through as a nation. We should desire to have a land flowing with milk and honey. And not only desire it, but actually be people who are going to treat that land with respect and honor and dignity, who are going to honor the Most High for the things that he's blessing us with, and not being greedy bastards like the people who are currently ruling this earth. not going around, picking up every part of our harvest, every little grain off the floor of our harvest and selling it for profit, but allowing the poor to eat, allowing the strangers to have some food. Verse 11 says, "And thou shalt rejoice in every good thing which the Lord thy God hath given unto thee," understanding that all of these provisions come from the Most High. Paraphrasing, like it says, the Most High maketh rich, and the Most High maketh poor. The Most High does all these things. He decides if you're wealthy or if you're poor here on this earth. And if you're a person who's been blessed with a lot of wealth, but you're a person who has a lot of responsibility. You're a person who has responsibility to make sure that other people here on earth are taken care of. Not to just chase more and more money. Not to just chase to take every penny and every single dollar out of the hands of the poor people who are living in society. Understand that the Lord thy God hath given it unto thee, and unto thine house, thou and the Levite and the stranger that is among you. Okay, we can drop that. Let's go to, we went through Leviticus 23. Let's go to, we got 5 minutes left. So let's just go to, let's go through a couple more verses just to see, again, the spirit behind this feast. Okay. I'll get one verse before I go into that, just to show that we see in the New Testament, like, for example, if you go to the book of Acts chapter 2 and verse 1, and let's pull that up. It says, Acts 2 and verse 1, "And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place." So this is just letting you know that the disciples kept the Feast of First Fruits. That is what Pentecost is. If you look up that word Pentecost inside of your Strong's dictionary, right, you'll see that that word Pentecost comes from the Feast of First Fruits. Right, and you see that Paul and the disciples kept these feasts. Go to, let's see if we can run through this really quickly. Right, verse 5 says, "And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews." We'll drop that. We'll go to one more really quick, 1 Corinthians, just to see that the New Testament is no different from the Old Testament. Right, I know I'm running short on time. I want to get to a couple more verses. So let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 16 and verse 8. It says, "But I will tarry at Ephesus until Pentecost." Right, so quick rundown on this is that, let's see if verse 9 says. Right, so it just says, "But I will tarry at Ephesus until Pentecost." So there was a time where he was in between those 7 weeks, and in between those 7 weeks, Paul went around traveling many different places, and he understood that before the Feast of First Fruits was going to happen in Jerusalem, he had some time to do some things. He understood that he could tarry, right, and do some work and do the work of the Lord until Pentecost, because when Pentecost hit, he had somewhere to be. He had to keep the Feast of First Fruits, right? It's crazy for Christians to sit here and rely on Paul to say that the laws are done away with and they don't have to keep the feast days of the Lord, and Paul said they could eat pork, and Paul said that they don't have to honor their parents, and whatever else is taught in that disgusting Christian church, and you actually pick up the Bible and read it, you'll read that Paul kept the Feast of First Fruits. Right? This is something that the disciples did. This is something that every brother who is in the truth did and kept. Everybody who followed Christ. Right? They kept the feast days of the Lord. Right? So let's drop that. And just for time's sake, let's jump to see how many more verses we can get to. Let's go to Leviticus. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 5. Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 11. Okay, Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 11 says, but if he be not able to bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, then he that sins shall bring for his offering the tenth part of an ephah of fine flour for a sin offering. He shall put no oil upon it, neither shall he put any frankincense thereon, for it is a sin offering. So what we're reading here in the Bible, and this is just something to understand the Most High, right? We understand that the Most High wants us to bring the first fruits. He wants us to bring our best. He wants us to sacrifice that lamb without blemish. But also understand that if you're poor, you're somebody who doesn't have as much as everybody else. The Most High is fair. The Most High is not asking a poor man to go out and bring his most expensive resource or whatever it may be and offer. He's saying, bring 2 turtle doves. You can bring 2 turtle doves and offer that, right? Or 2 young pigeons. You can offer that as a sin offering. You understand? The Most High is fair, and that's how he deals with us. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 1, verse 13. Okay, Leviticus chapter 1, verse 13 says, but he shall wash the inwards and the legs with water. Right? And the priest shall bring it all. Okay, so what is this letting us know? This is just letting us know that another thing, that when we're feasting and we're getting ready to prepare that food and, you know what I mean, have that feast and that holy convocation, the Most High said, but he shall wash the inwards and the legs with water. Right? So he also has a way where we have to prepare our food. Right? Another way to say this is just to wash your meat. Right? I know if you're Black or Caribbean, right? I know this is something that we heavily practice and do and understand. I know if you're a Judite, you understand. I know this is something that we do, right? You claim to be African American or Caribbean, right? I can only assume all the 12 tribes, right? But we wash our meat. That's in our culture. Okay, we drain the blood. We drain the blood out of our meat. We wash our meat. You understand? And this is something that the Most High commanded us to do. Other nations don't wash their meat. Other nations are the true savages. The indigenous brothers and sisters, it's in our culture to be clean, to wash our meat, to drain the blood. These are practices that we do. You understand? And this is something that the Lord commanded us to do. It says, and the priest shall bring it all and burn it upon the altar. It is a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire of sweet savor unto the Lord. We got to cook up some good food. We got to feast, enjoy our meal, eat healthy, eat properly. Right? Let's go to We'll go to two more. Try to get to these really quick. We'll go to two more and then we'll end up the class. Okay, let's go to the book of Exodus chapter 22. Exodus chapter 22 and verse 29. It says, "Thou shalt not delay to offer the first of thy ripe fruits and of thy liquors." You understand? Your Christian pastor telling you that you're not allowed to drink. He does not know the Bible. You understand? Not only are we sacrificing our best and our first, but same with that, you making that wine and your grapes and whatever it may be, you got to take the best of those grapes, right? The best of your liquor, the best of your barley, the best of your first fruits, right? The meat without blemish. You understand? And sacrifice it to the Most High. Right? We're going to eat. We're going to enjoy the food. We're going to have a good party. We're going to have a good time. Right? It says, "The firstborn of thy sons shalt thou give unto me." Understand? We're also giving, you got a firstborn son, we are sacrificing our son to the Most High. We're going to raise our firstborn sons up. You understand? A lot of us understand what it is a lot of men understand what it is to have their firstborn son, and you understand, they look at him with so much love and what's the word? Pride. So much love and pride when they have that firstborn son. And the Most High is saying that he wants us to give our firstborn son to the Lord. So you're a Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian brother. You got a firstborn son. You got to raise that son up to do the work of the Lord. Understand? He's going to be serving and working for the Lord for the rest of his life. That's his job. That's his duty. Understand? Let's get one more verse because we're over time. We'll just go to the one more verse and then we'll end up the class. All right? So let's go. We're going to jump to chapter 23. Okay, chapter 23 and verse 19. Nope, that's not what I want. It was 22. Chapter 23 and verse 19. Okay, we'll end up the class here. So this is Exodus chapter 23 and verse 19 says, the first of the first fruits of thy land thou shalt bring unto the house of the Lord thy God. Understand? So just once again, just letting us know that, when the Most High gives us that land flowing with milk and honey, the Most High blesses us with anything in life. You understand? We got to understand and give thanks to the Most High. You don't worship a rock. You don't worship some white Jesus. You don't pray to Zeus or Hades or Methuselah or Quetzalcoatl or whatever these different gods that our oppressors and colonizers have tried to force on us. All those different Greek gods and Mayan gods. And these things are not what the children of Israel are supposed to be worshiping. The Most High provides for us. You understand? You get that increase from your money. Pay your tithes to the priests. Pay your tithes to the brothers who are doing the work of the Lord. It's their job to take care of our nation. Raise your firstborn sons up in the Lord and teach them to be a priest and do the work of the Lord. That's got to be the spirit of our people. Right? It says, the first of the first fruits of thy land thou shalt bring into the house of the Lord thy God, Thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk. And that's another thing that we should not do. Again, you got a young baby, a young child who's still drinking from his mother's milk. Leave that child alone. Understand? He's too young. Many of the laws that we have throughout the Bible, like things where the Most High tells us to fast and do a day of atonement. These things are not for little kids to be doing. These things are for the adults to be doing. And there's a time where a child is going to grow up and, you understand, they're not going to be a little child or little baby anymore, and they'll be able to do more. And you understand, let a child be a child. When he gets older, he can serve the Lord and do all the work of the Lord and prepare himself for war and marriage and all the harder things that come with being an adult, being a responsible adult. Right? We want to give our best to the Lord, but you got a little baby, leave the baby alone. Right? And so with that, we're over time. There's a lot of information I wanted to bring out, but again, we got the Feast of First Fruits coming up this Monday. Okay, this coming Monday at sundown. It is a holy convocation that we need to keep throughout our generations. Father's Day has nothing to do with us. All right. And so with that, I'm going to end Monday night's history class. For Water for tuning in, make sure you hit those sign out links. I'm going to post them in the chat. Again, make sure you like, share, subscribe. And with that, I'm going to say shalom. Yahweh Shem Shabrak Atham to the brothers. Yahweh Shamar Alathan. Bashim Yahweh Shai to the sisters. Shalom.
You boy, you know what time it is, nigga. Better watch how you step in, yeah. But that was my nigga, yeah. I'm in it, yo. Got my nigga Rawan with me. But that was my niggas, it'll be an honor. You know what I'm saying? Under commanding General YAHANNA. That shit ain't gon' stop till we on top and we ballin', my nigga. We be fly as fuck, you know them bitches be stalking my niggas. That shit'll never change and it's the same with all my niggas. City to city, I should be at home, that's what my ribs say. But bitch, I'm grown, I'm in these streets and closed caption. Niggas know we bout that action. If a nigga play with me, then my Hakim gon' let him have it. Hey, think you the shit, this truth the shit. Nigga play, I let that Ruger hit. Get on them tracks, they be like, who is this? I'm rude with it. Ain't got no manners. All them pussy niggas talking shit. Yeah, I know they can't stand us, but we UPK Louisiana, bitch, that's what I'm rippin'. And my niggas solid number, real ones in my section. If you wanna get down, put your boots on, start steppin'.